Hey, what's up, my friends? I summarized all the videos on YouTube about quarter life crisis. So watch this video if you feel lost in your 20s. The first type of crisis that I'm going to talk about is existential crisis, or simply you feel like your life has no meaning. For me, I haven't experienced this problem so much because I have been through a lot of hardships when I was growing up, so I have always had a pretty strong sense of purpose. But I did go through a period when I felt really lost because of some personal circumstances and academic problems. I suddenly feel like the meaning of my life disappeared. Because before, I had always been building my sense of confidence on the basis of my academic success. So when I lost that, I feel like I have become an empty-hearted person. And I feel like this problem could be especially serious for the eldest child in the family. Because these kids are always taught that you have to help other people to be valuable for other people to love you, and that your life things only have a meaning just because you can solve problems. But I think that your self-worth should not fluctuate around how much help you can bring to other people. I want to take this beautiful quote that human beings have this inherent value just by existing. So you don't have to help other people or to be valuable to prove the meaning of your life. And the second crisis I want to talk about is about switching and pivoting. So about this, I want to talk about myself. So I am a person who really loves planning, and I deeply believe that if you want to succeed, preparation, groundwork, and building a foundation is necessary. So for me, winning or success has always been a very important thing. So finding a passion in my life isn't that much big of a problem for me. If I can use the word passion here, it's a little bit of a strong word because it has too many weird connotations. I have always been goal-oriented, and I have always been pursuing academic success. And even now, I have this huge big plan for my future career. But if you have seen my previous videos, you know that I have gone through a difficult period. And during that period, I have made a lot of change, a lot of beliefs that are deeply rooted in my heart are changed. And then I realized that life is definitely not linear. So that's why we don't need to regret about the so-called detours that we have taken, because you actually need that waste in order to get to your destination. Remember, every regret demands the death of the past that you didn't choose. Alright guys, finally some daylight. I think I'm more of a day person than a night person, because I feel like when there's sunlight, it's easier for me to express my aggressivity. Okay, now let's get back to the topic. So next crisis that I'm going to talk about is financial management. For financial management, I think there are two extremes. The first one is living too frugally. This often happens when you are from a poor or unprivileged family background. You may don't have a sense of security around money, so you tend to save money and suppress your desire to spend money. Or maybe you just don't have a healthy concept of money, like something like money is the root of all evils, or money doesn't grow from the trees. So you live overly frugally that you forget the importance of increase your income. So I do think that an $8 latte every day may not be necessary. And yes, saving that coffee money every day can help you save quite a bit of money, but I don't think it's gonna to help you become a millionaire or saving that coffee money every day gonna buy you a house. I don't think so. I haven't done the exact calculation, but I think that's true. Another extreme is overspending, like you max out your credit cards or you take out loans like crazy. I don't think I need to speak much about the downsides of that. If your credit is ruined or you haven't developed a rational spending habits, then your life can become a huge mess. So if you don't have savings, then when something unexpected happens, you won't have enough money to support yourself. Or if all you do is to consume things, material things, then you may not be investing yourself in the long term. Then in the future, your income may not be growing. However, I still want to add one thing here. If your dream is to become an entrepreneur or build your own business, or you have a big future plan and need to save money for, let's say, education, then I think it's necessary to maintain a relatively plain life. So don't tell me your budget is tight if you have a pair of kicks and a feel of God sent you hoodie. Don't tell me your budget is tight if you spend $35 on a cocktail on your Friday happy hour. If you are buying things to show off or comparing yourself with other people, then your financial situation may be in a pretty dangerous place. Okay, here we go to the last one, my favorite part. It's about jealousy and insecurity. Whenever we open social media like Instagram, we always see these beautiful women with perfect bodies. And then we start to compare ourselves to them. And we think, why don't we look nothing like them? And then we feel insecure or jealous. This is really toxic. Because before we even open this app, most of us already know that we're going to feel bad about ourselves. We're going to compare ourselves to other people. We're going to feel self-conscious. So why do we even open this app? Why are we keeping comparing ourselves to people who live on the other side of the world? We don't even know them. But I think we just need to keep reminding ourselves that most of the things we see on the screen is not real. Most of the pictures probably have been photoshopped, and most of them were taken under the perfect lighting or from the perfect angle. And the second thing is that beauty is really not just about appearances. So think about it carefully. Last time that you felt truly beautiful, truly loved, truly seen, was it really when you were wearing the most flawless dress, wear the most carefully done makeup, or I believe it was probably just a very plain ordinary moment. It's probably when we were having dinner with the one that we loved, or when we just curling up on the couch with our babe. And here is another thing. A lot of people think that jealousy is a kind of motivation that can keep you going. I think this is a huge misunderstanding. I don't think jealousy is a positive or sustainable type of motivation. I don't think anyone can push themselves through all the way to success by the motivation of jealousy. You guys are watching my videos, so you are my people. I know that you want to win, so do I. But I like to think that the goal of competition is your own standard. It's not just crushing other people. The opponents are simply just reference points. The ultimate opponent is yesterday's version of yourself. If we can turn our attention inwards, focusing on our wrong beliefs or weakness in ability and skills, putting efforts into practice, correcting our mistakes, and developing self-awareness, then even in a competitive environment, we can still feel free and achieve success instead of becoming a victim of jealousy. Here, I want to take two of my favorite athletes as examples, Katie Ledecky and Michael Jordan. One of them is the queen of female swimming, another is the goat of basketball. So Katie once said that, in my pool, it's just myself. I think this is an amazing mindset. So what does she mean? The meaning of competition is to break your own previous best. And your opponents are just a reference for where you stand. So how fast other people swim are just a reference for adjusting your techniques and increase your training. So this doesn't have to create negative emotions. So even if the gap between you and someone else makes you frustrated, the final focus should always return to your own weakness, and therefore your emotions can be redirected. Of course, there are many athletes whose entire sense of achievement is built around defeating the opponents. So once someone stronger appears, then they become mentally unbalanced and obsessive. And then the inner conflict shows. So when they win, they become overly proud. And when they lose, their mentality falls apart. And it becomes very difficult for them to stay at the top of their field for a long time. There are many talented NBA players who stopped it short of reaching that level. They had enough talent, but their mentality become trapped in comparison with other people. And eventually they couldn't maintain their peak for a long time. Early in his career, Michael Jordan is actually an example of his external driven mindset. So as it was shown in the documentary called The Last Dance, Michael Jordan was known for turning the rivalries into his motivation. So if any player disrespected him or talked something trashy to him, that man amped up and turned this into a kind of inner motivation for himself. He would remember the person who doubted him and turn his goal into proving him wrong on this court. I remember back in high school, I used to have this same kind of mindset too. I would imagine other people confronting me in my head and turn that into a kind of motivation. It sounds interesting, it sounds badass, but it is actually toxic. Because in the long run, it can turn you into an empty-hearted person. Because the deeper problem with this kind of external driven mindset is that once you can find someone to fight against, then you lose the desire to move forward. There are countless examples in the documentary The Last Dance. A player's casual joke, a referee's bad call, or an opponent's casual remark can all become a target for Michael to compete against. And actually, Michael would even imagine that the other person had said something offensive to him to creating the external motivation for himself. So there was one time when Larry Ford Smith said, "Nice game, Mike," after a game. And the next game, Bulls against Bullets, then Jordan dropped 47 points, completely crushing him in revenge. But as the NBA news said that it actually never happened. However, the weakness of the stage and the setback that you can expect from this external driven mindset is that once he couldn't find an opponent to fight against, he would lose the desire to move forward. So after winning his first 3 championships in 1993, there was no team left in the league that could really put pressure on him. So also with his father's sudden death, Jordan chose to retire. And he stated it very directly that I don't have anything else to prove, so I have lost the motivation to play. And this is the most typical dilemma when an external driven mindset reaches its end.